Welcome back to part 2 of City Skylines in Grand Leighton, Monaco cities. Finally got the subway issue fixed. After the Steam issue decided to fix itself on the way out. It was a mod that had conflicted out with what's called the Metro Overhaul mod, which allows you to customize your subways. It was also, as I found, it was conflicting with setting down bus routes on using the UK roads. But with the mod, the certain mod removed, it looks like everything's running to normal. So, in part 2, we're going to take a look at the new downtown and East End built for the Leighton City side of the Twin Cities. We'll take a look at Poplar Hills, which is just a quick fire residential area. And then, with a final look, we'll take a look at starting the works over here at the southern end of Watson Heights with a new area to go in where the railway is. And probably a first look at the city centre. So as you can see, this is the first time I have used the cycle boulevards in quite a long time at this extent. So this replaces your roads. So there's access to pedestrian, cyclists and emergency vehicles only. If I can just, here we go, zoom in. So I'm going to have to use the old-fashioned traffic manager to set this all up. I think it's residential here, so we can continue. So this is just using the good old-fashioned. This allows a continuity of utility vehicles and emergency service vehicles. What determines how I do the road layouts is basically what is. So it's residential, so you don't need to worry about commercial vehicles. So we'll just quickly do this and then we'll show you where the problems were and why it was so important, especially for connecting the downtown to the city centre. In this case, the service vehicles will have to stay on, just as the sheer fact there's just office here, just in case. But they will just do a U-turn at the junction and turn around. And then we just do a simple ban all vehicles for this, because this is just a pure cycleway. If you want to know what the speed limit is for any utility vehicles, nice leisurely walking pace of 10 k's an hour. So you're not going to get run over, folks, put it this way. Now there's two things I still need to do before I bring this area live with the things like its shopping centre, its cinema, casino. This is the closest you'll get to a multi-use centre, so Central World C's leisure, Central World B's tourism, and then residential and Central World A. So there's two things that are going to need to be done before we can hit play. One is the buses, which is basically going to just do quick fire. Everything else has been set up, taxis and all that, so we'll set this up. We're on line number 3, which is okay. So I'm just seeing how we're going to run this puppy. So we'll just run around here. Connect it up to here, which will act as, so it's going to. This is the number 3 prefix, so this is just only the small buses will be used again. This is just being used as a feeder service for the moment. Now it is just to get the basics all set up. Once the residential and that start taking off, we develop more that way. I'll have other circuits going. And the next one is, and this is why I love this game so much, is the mods. Here we go, setting about our subway, very first subway, and all the options I have available. Stations, how I can set them about, tracks later on, same as the heavy rail. The richness of this game, stations, if I ever decided to go above ground. The richness of this game is this sheer beauty. Now the first thing I need to do is put down the depot for where all the train cars are going to come out. Now we're going to put it about at the halfway point, which will be about here. I'm not going to lay the tracks today because they're not needed to be technically brought online yet, but I will start laying down the stations following the infrastructure, the technical infrastructure ahead model. And this is a quick rundown on why this game is so rich and why I love this game so much, because it gives such a decent amount of realism. So if we're going along here, just working out, this is going to be done. I shouldn't need to bend the stations. Could do just to bring it in, given this is the way it's going to loop around. Now we're using side platforms, which is probably going to be more than adequate. Could do island platform. The beauty of this you'll see later on when it's underground. In fact, I'm going to do islands because it allows for better transfers. So I'll place one there. And we'll place the second one. I'm not going to connect these up yet. So that's coming along here. I'll connect to the big heavy train station here. Transfer's not so important. Transfers are not so important here. So we can run one along here. And again, transfers aren't going to be critical along this point either, so we can probably run one along here. It's going to probably upset the residents a bit. In fact, if anything, now I'll lay the tracks down later, so just give me one moment please. So in the end, after a bit of a pause and to think about it, I decided to lay down a metro station. After all, as you can see here, and if I come out of transport mode, oops, you can see the basics of it running. The basics of it running through here, and it'll be easily extendable. Right. I suppose the next thing we need to do is get this going. And I think we'll start our first person mode over here. Oh, just one other thing. It is nighttime. Next up, let's follow the trains.